What meal does Jarvis serve the most in Avengers Mansion? Tortillas. In honor of the new JLA vs. Avengers YouTube series, I'm going to show some Avengers and Justice League of America back issues that I've recently added into my collection in today's Comic Book Editions Volume 197 video. Welcome to it, and thank you for joining me. First of all, let me tell you how excited I am to be doing this show with my friend John's Comics with Kids. We both have been looking for some type of ongoing show that we could do together, and we're really pumped about what we've come up with. Last Wednesday night, we did a live preview show talking about what you can expect from this new series and both teams on John's YouTube channel. I had a great time. We do the first official kickoff episode live on my YouTube channel on Wednesday, June 19th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Make sure to join me. Now, if you're watching this video on its original air date of June 18th, the show will be on tomorrow night. If you're watching this video on Wednesday, June 19th, the show's on tonight. And if you're watching this video on June 20th or after, the first episode is already in the books, and it's been archived in the Collaborations playlist folder here on my YouTube channel, and I hope you'll get a chance to check it out. Maybe you'll end up reading both books so you can give a little more input on the different stories that we'll be comparing each month, and the show will be rotating between my channel and John's Comics with Kids YouTube channel. So pumped about that. But let's start showing books from these prestigious teams, why don't we? And we'll get started with a 1982 comic book. It's Avengers Volume 1, issue number 218. Don Perlin is an artist I'm not completely familiar with, but he did the cover and interior art for the story. This is a cover I've seen many times, and finally have gotten around to adding into my collection. We have a little bit of a slimmed down lineup for the team this time, with Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Wasp. Yellow Jacket was a member at the time, but because of his domestic abuse of Wasp, he ended up getting court-martialed and then ended up facing trial in a later issue, so he's not active in this story. Essentially, the story, which was co-written by Jim Shooter, is about a guy that can't die. Every time that he does die, he's instantly reincarnated as a child, and the aging process goes pretty fast. And he's showing the Avengers that he can't die, and he's asking for help from them. That's essentially the basis of the story. I think the cover is a little bit shocking when you look at what's going on in the cover. I don't know if they would even try to do something like that in a day like today. Wasp is known for wearing so many different costumes throughout her run in Avengers, but I think that this costume, the yellow and red one, is more of a costume that she has seen more in than maybe some of the different others, maybe more associated with this costume than the others, although there's been quite a few, as I just said. I also added in issue 219. So Bob Hall has done the cover on this, Jim Shooter, also a writer. So when I was talking about the Wasp costume, there's almost a little bit of an inappropriate dialogue that kind of weaves in and out of this issue, because when it's time to go into action, Wasp can't find her costume. So she's kind of not clothed in several different portions of the story, and that's referenced. We see that Moondragon is back, and they actually call back to a thread in Avengers 177. So Moondragon had kind of turned foe to the Avengers, and they call upon this thread from several years earlier to play out in the story, although at the time she thinks that she's doing the right thing. And then how about a classic Avengers comic book? Issue number 223. Ed Hannigan did this cover, but Greg LaRocque did the interior artwork on this. So we have Hawkeye, who's at the circus, and he kind of stumbles upon the Taskmaster, who's in the circus. Ant-Man, by sheer coincidence, sees Hawkeye. Neither one knows that the other one's there, and realizes later that Hawkeye's in trouble with Taskmaster, and joins in to try to help him out. So This is a little bit of a pricier book from this era of Avengers. I really do enjoy the Avengers lineup at this time. Hawkeye had rejoined the team very recently at this point, and She-Hulk was also a first-time Avengers member a few issues prior to this as well. But really, it's just Hawkeye and Ant-Man doing the story. I never bought this at the time, probably because it was the lack of She-Hulk not being in the book. There was some other comic book that I thought my allowance needed more attention to than this one. But like I said, it has picked up in price more than the other comic books from this era or this run. But now I do have my copy. I did have a reprint copy of this that they did several years ago in my collection. So I had read the story and I'm like, wow, that turned out to be a really good story. And now I wanted it. But another reason that I wanted it, this completes an important mission for me. I now have a consecutive run of Avengers comic books that run between issue 168 and 280. I have every issue from 168 to 280. I finally got that 168 in earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, in my comic book editions volume 179 video. I shared that with you. So now I have this 100+ consecutive issue run, which was a goal of mine to take care of. And I want to start working on that run backwards too. So I don't have 167, so that will be a priority goal for me sometime in the future too. So I can keep expanding that consecutive run of issues. And I don't want to digress off of this issue without mentioning, I know I said Greg LaRocque did the interior art. I mentioned him in my comic book editions volume 195 Spider-Man video because he did the interiors of one of those. He's such a great artist. So those are the Avengers books that I have to share. We're only halfway through this video, but I do want to remind you that if you're new to my channel and haven't subscribed, it would mean the world to me. If you already are subscribed, thanks. I sincerely appreciate it. Sharing this video or this channel with someone else that might be interested is another great way to show support. The algorithm loves all your likes, hearts, and shares, and I love reading your comments. So at the end of the video, I'll be requesting some comments from you as well. Let's turn our attention now to Justice League of America. Give some love to the DC side of it. Here's an early Justice League comic book. We're at 1963, so we start out with Justice League of America, Volume 1, issue number 20. So we have Mike Sekowsky and Murphy Anderson doing this cover here. Gardner Fox story. They are the original JLA team for writing this. This story is a little bit weird, a little bit disconjointed story-wise, but then we're talking about a story that's like 61 years old. So some of the Justice League is called off to 3 different planets in different star systems to fight these doom machines, and essentially they fail at it. And when they come back to Earth, there is this Spaceman X, this giant Spaceman X roaming, and he's sucking up all this different energy. Well, they find out that Spaceman X is actually a robot, but there is a living being inside of the robot controlling him, and Superman's finally able to destroy him with his super strength. So that's the basis of this story. A little bit disconjointed, especially with them leaving the planet at the beginning and thinking they failed in their mission and coming back and succeeding in this. But it's the Silver Age DC. You just shrug your shoulders and go, whatever. But hey, it's in the collection. And you know that working on my JLA Volume 1 has been a priority for me. A huge priority for me this year, next year, and the following years to complete that run. Now we're going to jump ahead a little bit. We have Justice League of America Volume 1, issue number 59. We're at 1967. Mike Sekowsky on the artwork. Gardner Fox doing the story here. So this story, The Impossible Villain, they take these JLA heroes and they're essentially abducted from their secret sanctuary and taken to this other planet, and their powers are removed. And the people doing this, they say, you know, we never make a wrong decision. We know that every decision we make, there's a reason behind it, and it's the right reason. Well, then all of a sudden they get attacked. And here they have the Justice League with their powers stripped away from them. But the JLA is actually able, these members are able to defeat the would-be attackers. And then come to find out, they wouldn't have been able to defeat them had they had their superpowers with them. So if their superpowers hadn't been removed, they wouldn't have been able to defeat them. So essentially the prophecy comes true, and then their powers are restored. That's the general basis of the story for this. But what's really important for this comic book in my collection, as I said, with JLA being a priority for me, I had this goal. I started the year with a goal of 12 JLA comic books in my collection each year for the next 3 years, and that would complete the run. This is my 12th book. So here I already am, halfway through the year, and I got my goal of allotment of JLA comic books already taken care of. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop getting more JLAs for the rest of this year. I'm going to keep knocking out as many as I can get the opportunity to knock out. So, but it feels good to be halfway through the year and have that goal completed for sure. The last book I want to share with you today does not fall into my collection of JLA comic books I need to get for the 12 a year because I already have this comic book. This is an upgraded copy that I wanted to get. We're all the way up to 1981 now with Justice League of America Volume 1, Issue 195. George Perez on the artwork, Jerry Conway writing the story. This might be my all-time favorite Justice League comic book. It just might be. I know I've featured it on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review in the past. It's the beginning of a 3-issue story arc with the JLA JSA team up, and this time their yearly team up. They're taking on this brand new incarnation of the Secret Society of Supervillains. I love this SSOSV lineup that they put together, and unfortunately this was the only time, these 3 issues were the only time that this lineup of the Secret Society of Supervillains was ever used. I mean, we got the Mist, the Monaco, Signal Man, Ragman, Killer Frost, Brainwave Jr., Psycho Pirate, Cheetah, the Debbie Domain Cheetah, which I absolutely love, and Floronic Man. Oh, I wish that I remember even at the time going, oh, please bring back the Secret Society of Supervillain ongoing series and use this as the main group. But unfortunately, they never did. So the only stories with this collection are the 3 issues from this run, and this is the beginning story. 195, 196, and 197 is the full story. Highly recommend these if you're looking for good JLA, JSA team-ups. Just love it. There's a ton of characters, but you got George Perez doing the art, so he can handle all of these characters that you can throw at him and more. So for the Comic Book Editions Volume 197 video, it brings us to a close today. What was your favorite thing that I showed? Do you have any of these books in your collection? Are you looking for any of them? Let's dialogue about all of this and more. What did you think of that incarnation of the Secret Society of Supervillains? I want to dialogue about everything, Avengers included as well. Or if you want to talk about the new show, JLA versus Avengers, that I'm doing with John's Comics with Kids, that'd be cool too. I look forward to seeing you for the premiere of that show. Once again, it's Wednesday, June 19th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central live. First episode on my YouTube channel. Second episode next month will be on John's Comics with Kids YouTube channel. So keep informed with both channels so you'll know when the next episode will be coming up for next month. My back issue of the week YouTube short is up on my YouTube channel now. 60 seconds about a comic book back issue that's in my collection that I enjoy and hope that you'll check out. And then there's the greatest DC comic show on YouTube, Fanboys Live, and the Retro Review, with Signature King Tony Fett and Comic Food 2814 coming up Sunday night, like it always is, live on my YouTube channel at 8:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Central. I'll catch you next week for our next regular Comic Book Editions video. Until then, take care of yourself, have a healthy, successful, and happy week, and I'll visit with you soon. Take care. Video, but I want to get started right now sharing some comic books with you. And I would have if I had just dropped the book.